I'm told, actually, is that apartment building now that's really outdated?
Well, I guess
Because everybody uses the phone, right?
you have to get, yeah, you have to get it updated in my car.
Yeah, same here.
But in some way, once I actually left it on and updated because it was so much fun because we put in a new sort of interconnector road where my brother lives. And so on my little map, it was like I'd just be going across fields. The road wasn't on the map.
I like that in Carmel because it uses the satellite and sometimes I'm like remote places hiking. I think we have access there with what I do.
We're unmuted.
Right?
Guys,
We ready?
Oh, we're on?
Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to.
Are we muted?
Yeah.
Oh, we're unmuted.
Okay, good.
There's one, too.
So nothing that we said was. Unless
He was just giving you a heads up.
Now you're making me think something was said.
Conversation takes a left turn and the courtesy look. Oh, watch out. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for that follow-up.
Oh,
Lisa Sandberg? Yeah, I think it is.
What's the big story then, Dee?
Story for this budget?
Yes.
I think this budget, is going to challenge us in some ways. I think that we're going to have to work, really hard to, utilize the resources that we have as efficiently as possible, be as resourceful as possible. But I think that the mayor and John did a good job of providing us with what we need, overall to get things done.
Do you have any new people in your department?
So there is, I think at the time that I presented this to the mayor and John, I listed one of the laborers as vacant, but we have since filled that, with Sean Haber, under the parks line.
So you have no vacancies at this point?
No.
Oh. No, I did notice that a lot of the contracted labor and, overtime and other things was reduced, so I think that's where they ended up cutting your budget.
Yeah, a little bit.
In terms of the outside hires, that
Yeah.
you would typically bring in.
Seasonal, I think was cut just a little bit, in the parks line, not much, but.
Right, I mean, not huge, but still enough, yeah. So that's where the challenge will be, it's right, to get everything done, the staff you have, and, but without doing more than you, not taking on more than you can really do.
Which is
Which is your
challenging
challenge.
with Deets. Deets will be our biggest
Right,
challenge.
because you don't know really what that's going to entail yet.
We're slowly learning a little bit, so that's that is probably, at this point in time, what we have our eye on the most. Just to
Yeah.
Look at the expenses, because, we really didn't know what to expect with all the new amenities and, time it'll take to, maintain, clean, mow. We still, we opened it towards the end of the summer, around the end of the summer, so.
You haven't experienced a full year yet of what it's going to be like.
Right.
Right, so interesting, yeah.
Is that the reason for the loss of that $16,000 in parking revenue? Or is that something else?
Yeah, so I think there might be some changes with that, again, at the time of, I think this recommended budget was submitted. I don't believe we were thinking we were gonna be, working with Trailways. Trailways generally are, leases out a certain amount of parking spaces. And I think since then, the mayor has had a conversation with, the folks over there. So that's possible that we could be seeing, that 16 and maybe a little bit more, but I don't think the details have been ironed out yet.
Okay, but they are in discussion, because a lot of my neighbors, because I live right over there, a lot of them are asking, is there going to be these parking? And
Yeah.
people who I know who don't live there, who park there when they go into the city overnight. And
Yeah, and
so that was a nice amenity.
yes, definitely, and I think, I think that Dr. Catalino and the mayor are trying to discuss that, yeah, make sure they're both in agreement.
Right.
Line 5103, the overtime jumps from 1,000 to 15,000. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so, prior to the renovation at Deets, we really only had staff working at the stadium after hours if, if there was a community event or a youth football game or something in which they required staff to be there to help with moving equipment. We used to allow people to opt out of overtime because it is quite costly. It could add up, depending on how long an event is. But since reopening the facility, the school and the city have decided that the facility should be staffed.
So this is more just back to what it was before Eats was closed.
No, this is different. We didn't used to have staff working after hours at Eats.
Oh, okay.
So in order for the facility to be open, we have staff, at least one person there,
Okay,
and closing the facility, at night. Oh, on the weekends as well, so that's a little bit of a jump there.
and you don't flex their hours?
We don't have that ability really, it's a little complicated, union, contracts and stuff.
We used to, right?
I've heard, it's a little bit, it seems like there's a little bit of a challenge there, but it has been talked about, so I'm hoping that between, the city and the union that we can try to figure something out, because I do think it would be beneficial if we had, an actual employee that could work Wednesday through Sunday.
Right.
I think there were some complications, right, John, like with holidays I think that part could get a little complicated, I don't know.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
What are the brackets for, like CDBG reimbursement, is that like, you're unsure whether we're gonna get that or?
We didn't, mine says we didn't receive it.
I'm here. So on these sheets, where you see brackets,
Yeah.
those are revenues. So like, if you give me an example of which line is that?
I was just looking at CDBG reimbursement,
7
I'm sorry, that's 7110?
71. 71,
Looking,
no, that's CDBG is 714.
7140.
Yeah.
so what is it?
7140.
Okay.
I mean, there's several brackets here, but that's just one of them.
I see it, right. So in this instance, the 2014 original budget had a revenue number of 17,410. There's nothing penciled in for next year, so my understanding is it's not available. And that is a negative variance of 17,410, right? We had revenue in 2024 that we won't have in 25.
Which I don't think we ended up getting it for the chief either.
Yeah.
So I think that's, that was the determination. We budgeted for it, but
But there's zero.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
just so I can further explain, the first two columns,
Mhm.
if it's, the number's not in brackets, those are expenses, those are all expense accounts. The numbers that are in brackets are revenue accounts. And in the third column, where you'll see some numbers in brackets, some non-brackets, where it's in brackets is a negative variance. It means that's to the bad, right? And where it's a positive number, it means that's a positive variance. It means that the 2025 budget is favorable compared to the 24 budget.
Okay.
And of course,
So
all
the
the,
no.
there you go.
So the recreation fees, it was 80,000 negative, so.
That was a
did we
revenue.
project that and we didn't hit the mark?
Nope, so that's that, in that case, that was an $80,000 budgeted revenue for 2024.
Right.
For 2025, we're actually projecting more, we're projecting 90,000 of revenue. So that's a $10,000 positive, year over year variance.
Okay, just to be clear, so the 80,000, that was a negative, right?
No, that's revenue.
That was revenue.
Yeah, any negative number in the first two columns, the number in brackets is a revenue.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay, so we're bumping that up.
we're bumping up the revenue.
So currently, for this year, we budgeted that we would receive 80,000 revenue. Right now, we're at 86,000.
Got it. So
So
we just rounded
that
off.
we're expecting or hoping, that by next year it'll be 90.
Okay.
In general, when we're looking at the revenues, we're looking at a few things. We're looking at in our accounting system, and then from talking to department heads, where are we at this year versus the budget? You know, are there changes in operations for the following year that may affect revenues that haven't hit us yet? And we also look at, you know, if there's projected fee increases, how may that affect revenues?
So you're already projecting in the increase camp fee for that, that's built into there, that $10 increase?
Yeah, any revenues that are, changes on the fee schedule are considered as part of this, but
Can I say-
I don't know if there's something,
This is for 25?
Yeah.
Yeah, we received that.
yeah. And I should say where we feel like a revenue adjustment needs to be made. I mean, a lot of these are gonna be minor in terms of how much money, additional money they're gonna bring in. You know, for some departments, it's larger, like parking with our department. You'll see there's a lot of changes, so we certainly consider that.
And the natural gas, line 5423, was 5,000 last year and nothing this year. Are we no longer
Which line?
gas customer? 5423, it's page 4, 3/4 of the line.
Is that for, are we looking at heats?
Look at it.
But the 7210,
Oh, that's heats, okay. Oh, so, the mayor, so everything is electric, at Heats.
Oh,
Yes, so that's why that was taken, yes.
Thank you.
And of course, a lot of the costs that are going up have to do with health insurance and, yeah, all the insurance costs and benefits. Yep. So that's not a surprise, but.
yeah, any of the expense
it's
accounts
we
that,
can't really control.
any of those expense accounts that start with a 5.8
Mhm.
generally are budgeted by my office just based upon rate changes like retirement medical.
Yeah.
The departments would put in like uniform allowance, things like that, but generally, any of the insurance or retirement system costs, we get the rate increases from the state, or in the case, the medical, the carriers, and budget accordingly.
For the advertisement for Heat Stadium, is that just a one-time thing or annual, they have to
Yeah, I saw that
re-up
too.
their?
yeah.
So previously, it was an annual promotion that businesses would, you know, opt into for a sign for their businesses to be advertised. I actually have a meeting next week with the mayor to talk about what it might look like in the future, so that could potentially change. But in the past, it has been an annual
Okay, great.
system, yeah.
Those are essentially sponsorships.
Yes.
Yeah.
And have we increased the sponsorship amount, since we now have a new stadium?
We have, so far, we have not, offered any sort of promotion, so I don't know if the fee, is that something that was always in the fee schedule? I don't think
The
that's gone.
sponsorships, I don't believe that's in there.
It's not, okay.
Probably in a revenue line like this, right?
But we wouldn't see how much our band costs.
No.
Yeah, just double check.
Oh, wait, it's not here. It used to be $600 in,
For, what is it for?
I mean, this was, I don't have 2025, but last year, this year was 600.
I guess it is there.
I guess so.
Lindsay, do we have a scholarship line in here for some of the kids, either midtown, downtown, Canport, like Camp?
So there's not an actual line for it, but we do offer, the opportunity for folks to provide scholarships. A lot of people, it will just go in the user fee line and then keep track of how many we've received. So far, we have a gentleman that is looking to sponsor 4 players for the youth basketball program. So essentially, he would send a check for registration, put in the line scholarship, and then we would offer it to the folks that.
Are we promoting that? How?
We have not really had a system for promoting scholarships because we don't know how many we'll have each year. So it's really on a case-by-case basis. So for example, with the course junior naturalist, I believe the Friends Group offers 6 scholarships every year for kids to apply for. But because they know they'll have 6 every year, they promote at the beginning of registration, so folks know to apply. We try to let people know that we have financial assistance available. Oftentimes people ask and we'll tell them, what the process is for that.
Same thing with summer camp?
Yes, summer camp, any of our programs really, yeah, and a lot of times our rec leaders have a good relationship with a lot of the
Yeah.
members of the community and parents and stuff, and so that they tend to have that open dialogue where they let them know that if they need assistance, that they just reach out to our office and we'll explain the process.
Just getting back to the deeds advertising, right? I mean, some of that still has to get worked out,
Yes.
right? Because I know there's a promotion fee in there now, but I don't know how that will translate to the new,
Right.
what we're doing, right? Because I've heard like potential scoreboard advertising, things of that nature,
Bricks.
right? So,
Yeah.
Bricks, right?
That's why we're gonna have this meeting and try to, because it is very possible it'll look different.
Yeah, you can have see some additional changes to that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that would
And
be.
hopefully is a
exciting.
positive direction for us.
Yes, I think that's the hope, is that this
Yeah.
will look,
Yeah.
more opportunity.
At 600, that's 25 advertising, 25 banners, I would assume, is that, do we now have more space for that under the stadium compared to the old stadium?
I don't know that we've measured it out necessarily, but as John said, I think there's there could be other locations to utilize for sponsorship that we haven't in the past.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the
I think that's
development
what
will increase revenue.
Mhm.
I see the dues and seminars, and it's kind of a drop in the bucket in this whole budget, but that went up substantially, although it really was so little the year before.
Yeah,
Is that because people weren't traveling?
we've had an increase in requests from our staff. A lot of our staff have been wanting to go to different trainings and conferences. So that was based on a projection of upcoming conferences. Yeah.
It seemed like really nothing the year before.
Yeah, I think generally, if you look at the past few years, I think it's been somewhere around $500, $700. With COVID, there weren't a lot of opportunities to have
Right.
those things, but things have picked up now, and we've had staff
Special occasions.
right here have reached out, wanting to go to different events like that, which is beneficial, for the whole.
The Zoom is-
Mhm. So we're not seeing any costs for the zoo go up?
That is,
I didn't see any.
Not the vet fee?
No, so what a lot of people probably aren't aware of is that the Nature Center is actually, also has a friends group. And so they support a lot of the large scale, financial costs that arise, specifically emergency vet bills. And so over the years, we've never, I don't think we've ever had to do a budget transfer into that line. The friends group usually covers any, large.
Do we get to see those expenses, or because it's covered by the friends, that's not?
Well, I wouldn't even see them, if they're paid directly by
Yeah, we don't,
the Friends Group.
It's
if they're
probably
not
on the
billed
990
us.
form that the Friends Group has to file as a nonprofit. So you
Okay,
could probably just look it up online.
Yeah, you can
In
look
fact,
at
I'm sure it's
GuideStar.
on GuideStar.
Yeah.
They have the 990s for every single nonprofit. But it actually is a very active Friends Group. I mean,
Yeah.
I've met them and
yeah,
they really dig deep into their pockets to really help support the nature center.
they do, and I will say that the volunteers on that board, specifically our Nature Center caretaker, they are beyond dedicated. They put a lot of their time and energy, and care into that facility. And I have to give credit to them for what you see when you go there. That is, they're doing a lot of heavy lifting there. Yeah, for sure.
That's good for you, isn't it? Because
It is, but I think, over the years, we're seeing though, more and more the increase in visitors and,
Right.
we're trying to find ways that we can improve the facility and enhance the facility and take in the suggestions that we're getting. Mark's been really responsive to folks that have reached out with questions and concerns, so. And if anyone is interested in going there and checking it out, we can certainly arrange a site visit. He loves it.
I mean,
It's
that friendship's
definitely-
been active for about 20 years.
Yes.
I gave them a community board, actually. There. And I have a neighbor who might actually be interested in volunteering to make some programs happen there. So I connect, yeah, I gave her Mark's information.
Yes, great.
So, since we're so close,
Yeah.
you know, we're right around there. We go in, you know, the neighbors go in there all the time and they really have, yeah, they appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
Thank you for all the work you do, keeping up our parks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your guys' support, consideration, and if there's any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll do my best to give an answer.
I'm gonna, this, you're so responsive. Like,
Thank you.
every time we reach out to you for like almost anything, you're like, bam.
Thank you.
You're like,
I'm trying. Well, you know, you're VIP. No, I'm, you know, we're sharing it.
No, there's never complaint about.
No, thank you.
So that's,
I
yeah.
think it's back when I was in.
Our department is very, you know, as you mentioned, very focused on the community and.
You drew downtown. Oh,
Thank you. I appreciate that. So,
Right, thanks, Lindsay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next time, bring it.
Jackie, I won't get up there. Cold up here. It's
It is.
usually cold.
You on here with them?
I'm out here.
Did I hand you some weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still prepared. I think I'm pretty, after hours or something. I would hope so, I guess. That's why I always wear sweaters and scarves. Okay,
Where are we at here?
good service.
Apologize for how long.
Probably should have had you go first.
Yeah. I-
Because you gotta get up early to take the rail trail. Just ran over Jackie one day out there on the rail trail.
Which one?
Washington Avenue?
Oh, hey.
Oh, okay, Avenue, yeah.
I go out there with a couple dollars. Yeah, have a good night.
All right, are things civil in civil service?
It's a very small budget. There aren't a lot of changes in it. Probably the biggest one is the service contracts.
Mhm.
That's because of the software that, we got with the ARPA money. So, the ARPA money covered so much of it and then going forward, we just have to maintain it.
Right.
So we're still in the process of getting that going. We hope to have our the website, up pretty soon. They've actually sent me the demo of it, and I've been putting in some exam announcements and some job vacancies to see how it looks. So it'll be a little bit different than what our current website looks like. I'm not actually sure how, I think when you click on exams, it's gonna go to a completely different page. I believe Ulster County uses the same software we have.
I've never gone to the civil service page, but I'm gonna go there now.
Well, on our website, it's employment.
Right.
If you hit employment, it takes there. So I think it's gonna take you to a whole new thing. It's gonna be
Oh, nice.
more user friendly and
And hopefully encouraging of people to,
yes,
yeah, take exams and get employed and all that.
we're hoping to have more information on there so that they can see, you know, the eligible lists and where they stand.
Oh.
Right now, they have to come to our office to see that. So
Oh, yeah, this would be an improvement.
yeah.
And is this an expense that would go on every year, the same
Yes.
level of
Yeah, this is
expense?
the-
This is
this
the new
is the
system.
maintenance,
The new
yeah.
thing. Okay, got it.
Yes, Michael.
So you have exam fees So line 5458, exam fees goes down $1,000. However, civil service exam fees further below goes up 2,500. Can you explain what those two fees are? Because they're different
Yeah,
lines, so.
Yep, yes, the top one is, what we pay the state for exams.
Okay.
So there's a fee associated with, every exam we give,
Mhm.
and then we charge the
Oh,
applicant.
so revenue.
So the revenue down below is lower because we lowered our fees.
Okay.
A lot of agencies waived the fee,
Mhm.
New York State waived their fees. We decided to just lower it because we had found that when we waive them, a lot of people will sign up and they don't show up.
Right.
Because they have nothing vested, so, we decided to lower it, and it seems to be, working out well. The other reason why it's lower is because we've submitted a lot of our titles to the New York State Department of Civil Service to be in, their new HELPS program, which is something that they came up with, as a result of the pandemic. And it started out, it was for, first responders, healthcare. And it was an opportunity to get people hired because there's just such difficulty with hiring these days. So now we're taking a lot of our titles that are competitive class where they have to take exams, and we're putting them temporarily in the non-competitive class. And so during the period that they're in the non-competitive class, it gives people the opportunity to apply and get hired without that stress of taking a test.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then once the state has to approve the titles. So far, they've approved 15 of our titles. I believe I submitted around 35 or 40. They only do 15 at a time, so we just got 15 approved last month. And then, so that will help. And then once they end that program, all those titles will go back to the competitive class. And anyone that was hired during that time that was in the HELPS program will automatically get made competitive. So,
But they won't have to take an exam because they're already employed.
right, yeah. So that is impacting the number of exams we're giving, the number of people. So that's why that change is there.
Excellent. Thank you.
And what are the what are the
Continue to
cat,
arm wrestle.
what are the categories of, or what are the classifications of the staff that act for the positions that actually can be moved to help?
Anything
others?
that's not police, fire, anything to do with safety can't.
Okay. that's-
So
thank you.
the state has encouraged us to submit
Like
just
just
about
about
every
positions,
title,
things like that.
because
Okay.
they want to try and help point authorities fill positions that they need to get filled and not make it difficult. Because you get a lot of people that if they have to take a test and they have to accept a position on a provisional basis,
Yeah, yeah.
they're not gonna leave a job to do that.
No, of course
You know,
not.
so this was just an opportunity to try and help point authorities get their positions filled
Good.
quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just, but we're not allowed to do police, fire, and that has to do with safety.
I understand.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
That's the question.
Oh, okay.
Did we have the same question?
But with that said, I don't think we ever really hire those safety titles provisionally. We always manage to have, lists they can choose from.
Correct.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Drew, did you have another question?
The service contracts and general, contract expense. What's the difference between the two?
Service contracts are for our, copier we have in our office and for the software.
One is for the software.
General contract expense.
I can look to see what's charged there. I mean, it's a general kind of a catch-all type account, but let me just see what I got for you.
Those lines covers, like, we have a big exam, we have to give it somewhere.
And the various activities. We're talking about you.
So if we have to utilize the school facilities to give an exam, they charge us for that, so we have to cover the expense of custodian and all that. Yeah. That might be under that line.
For some reason, I view this as let me look up,
Yeah, that might be where we're taking that.
trying to find it. You're good.
And we've been getting more and more exams here in the chambers, because we purchased tables just for the sake of exams. So as long as we have less than 30 people, we can keep them here. This costs us.
Good.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'm just waiting to get my accounting system, it's kind of spinning, I had it before we're done tonight, so.
Sure, go ahead.
So you are cutting advertising now. Does that mean that we're just putting in fewer days in the Freeman or?
We don't advertise in the Freeman because it's
Oh,
so
okay.
expensive. But what we did last year is we, signed up for Better Teams, which has, I think, 10 different platforms that they put it out on.
Oh,
And we've
okay.
noticed a huge increase
Oh.
in applicants as a
What is
result of that.
Better teams?
Better Teams, yeah.
What is that?
It's just another platform that, but they also, by putting it on there, it goes out to Indeed, Monster. It goes out to like 10 different platforms.
Oh, that's great.
And we tried it, this year and we've been noticing a great deal more applicants as a result. And so we paid for that one. We were doing Indeed
Right.
free. And it wasn't really getting us anywhere. But Better Teams, we paid for
And it
and,
gets you every.
yeah, okay. So it seems to be helping.
Actually, there was a reference to that on Facebook today.
Oh, really?
But I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I think I found out about it during one of our conference. They usually give us some tips there.
It looks like, the general contract expense has been generally payments to the school district for,
So,
facility usage.
yeah.
Hey, Jackie. Good
Thank you.
paperwork you do in that little office, getting
Thanks,
back in
Jack.
there.
Yeah,
Thank you. Have a good night.
have a good rest of your night.
Thank you, you too.
So Alyssa's not here, right?
I think not, because she
General
said it.
Alyssa's not here,
She has to reschedule hers.
right?
I
So,
did bring the, common council, but normally it would be done as part of her budget, I mean, it's,
we can.
but if you want to do
We
that
have some
here.
time.
Yeah, maybe,
It's not gonna be budget, right? Actually, I don't have, I have work to do, and I go, oh, but this went so short. So quick.
Pass it to
This is
that
one,
one.
It's not something, is that budget?
all we have to do is,
It's-
all we have to do is increase our salary by 138%. Actually, 137, under the proposal there.
Okay, there it is. So
So,
I guess our regular pay is staying the same, I see that.
right, but that is, I will let you know that we made a decision quite a while ago that we would increase regular pay by the rate of inflation. So in other words, cost of living adjustment.
A COL adjustment.
Yeah, so we don't have to do that. Fine with me if we don't. I'm just letting you know that we've done that the last 2-3 years, I think. And that would be like a $2,000 addition, which means finding $2,000 in somewhere else.
Right.
I'm not a fan.
Especially this year.
Yeah, I don't think we should be doing more raising taxes this much.
Okay,
I'm good with it.
Me too.
with not raising it.
No, with raising it.
Oh, with
Oh,
raising
raising
it, yeah. Okay,
I'm good not raising it, but I do have other, things that I'd like to propose for our community, but I'll wait for you to read that proposal I sent you and.
okay,
But that would not be within the context of this budget?
No, I don't.
Oh,
mind
oh, I
that.
see.
Yeah, I don't mind not taking this.
Yeah.
so we will save the cost of living adjustment issue to the budget review session then.
Okay,
Since we've got
right,
two sets of opinions, we can think that through. So if we do that, like I said, it's 2,000 and change, so the question would be where it would come from. John, I always forget, why do we have a telephone account here? Because is that the cell phone?
Those are cell phones.
Oh, our cell phones.
Okay.
I see.
And we've already cut the advertising. So.
And where do we advertise?
What was the
What do we
advertising
advertise for? Yeah.
Our local laws have to go on the paper, I would
Oh,
say.
right, okay, that makes
Wait,
sense.
say it again.
Our local laws have to go on the paper for a certain number of days consecutively or.
Right, there are reasons, yeah, you're right.
So
there are
we cut
reasons.
that.
We cut that back some, but there's still,
We're obligated to advertise in physical media still.
I think at least in one publication.
yeah,
So maybe
that's
we
why
cut that back.
in January, we always designate the official publication,
So-
which is always the Freeman. Sometimes people will, you know, make a fuss about it because it's the Freeman, but it's the daily paper, you know,
Right.
in that
That's
sense, it's the local paper of record. And so, you know, it's not a vote of favor per se for the Freeman over other papers. It's just that they're the
We have a
paper.
bigger circulation.
I don't know about that. They're the
Okay.
daily.
Yeah.
That's,
So, yeah.
What's the contract update code book?
That is basically the E code and it's updating the charter, I'm sorry, the
laws.
All the laws.
Yeah, the city code through our third-party service.
So what does that mean? Like, what is this? I mean, it was increased to be that $3,300, so where does that money go? It's $10,000.
It's a
So
third-party
we have
software
a-
that updates.
Oh, so it's
Eco
Yeah,
360.
well, we have to pay to the software company to update, make all the law changes and the code changes.
Okay.
We have to pay a vendor, in other words. It's not, we're not doing it ourselves per se.
And what is the consultant?
That's in case we have to, like, hire an outside lawyer, it's there as a backup.
Okay.
Or some other, you know, there might be some other reason where we need some kind of expertise that the city doesn't offer. So,
Now, didn't we put in a budget line last year for somebody who would be a sort of assistant to the council?
we did, but we never hired one.
That's what I was wondering. I thought we did.
And so
So since we didn't hire one, so we're not, yeah, there's,
we can decide to do that.
I
Where's
don't
the
think
fund?
so, because that would be.
What's
I
that?
think that's blended in with this account, the consultant account here. That's what I want to
I
put.
think we should have a conversation about what we can do with those funds, and I think it'd be important to still get a consultant. But I think we should talk about.
But that number was bigger,
Yeah, that was like 32, right?
Last year. this
yeah,
year.
because we were talking about up to the limit of halftime.
Right.
We did.
Approved it,
Yeah,
but didn't use it.
so that money still
Yeah.
sits somewhere.
When was the last time we expended the consultant line? Or hired? Somebody that should-
In my term, which is going on 9 years now or so, we have never hired an outside lawyer. At one point, we did consult an outside lawyer, but that person did not charge us anything.
Okay.
So there is perhaps, that's might be also part of the charter review discussion,
Mhm.
to think about hiring or having a separate lawyer, just as a matter of course. Or increasing that amount and being more ready to consult another lawyer on whatever issues.
I'm just looking at last year at the budget wrap up, the council put in 15,000 at a consultant.
So
That was a number that was decided on.
That was the total number?
Yeah.
And that's the number that remained.
Because there was remember, there was the money for the ethics, which is separated out, that's separate. And 15 was put into this line, unless,
But I think that we made that decision later than the budget. Didn't we?
now it's on my worksheet as part of the adopted budget worksheet, so that was,
So it was zero or something?
it was
Zero.
zero. It was zero.
Okay.
It
I remember that, yeah. it was
15
zero.
seems very low for what I thought we were doing.
So, John, is
I
that one
think
still?
it may have been a prorated amount based upon when you thought you were gonna bring.
That's
them on.
because we were gonna
I think
bring
we
him
talked
on
about
in
that, yeah.
July. That was
That's
the
right.
idea.
Yeah,
So, we still have those funds?
Till December 31st.
We still have,
And there's 15 in there for next year too at this point, so.
so that could be part of our,
that's what I'm saying.
But it's
fund
not,
balance.
but keep in mind that, as Rennie said, right, so last year, on the 24 budget, the thought was putting the position at a $30,000 pay rate, but only funded 15 with the expected July 1st start date. There's only 15 in there for next year. So that
So-
could be a July 1st start date or a different pay rate or however you
Then
want it.
if we took, so we didn't spend that 15,000, but if we put it, if we added it into here, that would in effect have to come out of the fund balance, right?
Oh, wait, so it carries over.
To add 15,000 there. In
Right.
essence, we're bringing it over from last year,
Yeah.
but we didn't spend it.
Oh, we can do that.
well,
We could, but that increases the tax rate again.
because that's more money we're spending,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
because we're trying to cut money.
Well, you would either increase the usage of fund balance, or you cut the monies from somewhere else, or find another revenue source, or adjust something else to get to the 30.
Yeah, and so if we add that to the 2,000 something, that would be $17,000 we'd have to look for somewhere else in the budget.
And I think we have to talk about what we think that person was due, because since we got by without having that person in the last 6 months, the last few months, do we really need somebody?
Yeah, we do. I'm sorry, I've been, I don't go into it, but I've been advocating for it all the way through. So it just hasn't happened.
I see.
Anyway, so
More to be discussed.
yeah,
Okay.
that would be one thing to bring up. So yeah, because I don't think we can have the 15,000 there with the idea that we'll hire somebody on a 6-month basis and then
Right.
find the money somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
So,
Does it require a charter change for us to get our own attorney?
I believe it does. But I think I think this is the sort of thing, we can hire them as a consultant.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay.
similar to the idea of hiring this. So we can, if I understood what Barbara Grace Paula was telling us, you know, we could hire somebody on a consultant basis, but not as an employee.
Gotcha.
All right. Anything else on that one? All right. Are there any other items you think we could look at here, John?
Not really, I mean, not without having departments present. Yeah, I know we have to talk about the base proportion ratio, Dan Baker should be here for that.
Right.
No, I don't think so, really.
Okay. Well, I just hate the idea of people in budget season getting a good night's sleep. It just cuts against my,
Getting out before 7:30.
yeah, something's wrong, something bad is wrong there.
Well, we've just been looking at some very short budgets, or let's say not the most expensive budgets.
No,
Well, we'll make up for it.
that should not be that should not be the case. Doesn't matter. We should have some very long, abstruse discussion about something.
Steve was just telling me how long some of the budget discussions used to go on in the past.
Yeah, well, we have gotten it into certainly much more streamlined process. Under previous administrations, there were knockdown, drag out fights in here about that stuff. I mean, that's before my time. I guess it's before Steve's time too. Steve, you were here a whole term before me, right?
What was your first year, Steve?
What?
What was your
first
first
year on the council? Actually, well, let's adjourn. Drew, could you turn,
That's right, we finished our business. Second,
adjourn?
third, fourth.
My first year,
Yeah, you were here 2 years before me, right?
14.
Yeah, so you were here 2 years before me. So